Namaste, everybody, and welcome to this session inspired by the goddess Saraswati. She's a beautiful lady pictured in a white sari to indicate purity and truth, sat on a lotus blossom, which again is often white, signifying enlightenment. And in her forehands, she holds mala beads, which are used in meditation, a book of knowledge, or in this case, she's got some sutras, some scrolls, some sort of something to indicate wisdom. And then she plays a veena, which is like a sitar. She's the goddess of creativity, of the arts, of knowing, of going with your passion. She's the goddess of intuition and listening to our inner wisdom, our inner self. Now, as you can see, she's depicted here near water, and that is because she represents this free-flowing spirit, this idea of the flow. So anytime you see a stream or a river, an ocean, moving water, Saraswati, the essence of Saraswati is in it. She rides a swan there in the front of the picture. In the background, you might be able to just make out a peacock. So often she has a peacock behind her, a peacock representing the ego, and she's keeping that at bay, so she controls the ego. So our inspiration today is to flow in the postures, to move in them as you want to. Be creative. Let's start by sitting and spending a moment centering our energy. We're going to take a mudra. Mudra with the fingers. We're going to take Jnana mudra, which is where we touch the thumb and the index finger together. The other three fingers stay close together, and we turn our palms up to the sky and rest the back of our hands onto thighs or knees. If we turn the palms down, which is lovely and grounding, this becomes Chin Mudra, but this way up is Jnana Mudra, indicating wisdom. So let's tap into that, closing your eyes if you wish. Some nice deep breaths in and out of the body, connecting us with our artistic gifts. Saraswati is in every beautiful piece of music that you've heard, every graceful dancer, a wonderful piece of writing or poetry. This is Saraswati at work. She's going to help us flow in a creative way. So that inner voice inside us, we all have an inner GPS. Whether we listen to it, whether we follow it, is another matter. Saraswati teaches us to trust in that inner voice and sometimes overrules the demanding mind, the logical mind. Breathing in and out to this, inviting Saraswati into our lives. Perhaps there's a dilemma or a choice you have to make. It could be a simple decision. It could be a life-changing decision about whether to change jobs or follow your heart in some other direction. Invite Saraswati to help you listen to your inner guidance system. And we'll see if this practice can help open up that voice inside you. So releasing the mudra, gently ease yourself down to lying on your back. Coming down to laying with your knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Let the shoulders and the hips settle. And we're going to take our right knee and hug it in over the chest. So at the beginning of the universe, we have Brahma, one of the main gods, Brahma. We're going to represent him by stretching our leg up. Before we do that, however, you might want to today lift your head towards your knee and then maybe stretch the left leg out, reaching through the ball of the foot, breathing here. If this feels like too much hard work, then relax down. Go with what feels good to you, as always, but especially today. And then bending the left knee, putting the left foot on the floor. Use your hands to guide the right foot up into the air, stretching through the right heel, bending and flexing the foot. Brahma grew up on his lotus blossom to create the universe. And bend that right knee, place the right foot on the floor, hugging the left knee in now. A few squeezes. And if you wish, lifting the head towards the knee, engaging the core muscles and lifting the right foot up and away. So stretching through the ball of the foot, feeling a stretch down the back of the body. And then placing the right foot back on the floor, take the left leg up into the sky. So although Brahma created matter, he didn't create any form. And needing a spark of creativity, some stories say that he concentrated between the point between his eyebrows, the third eye. Some say he breathed out. Saraswati appeared before him. So bend that knee. Take the feet both down to the ground now. And it's up to you how you make your way up to sitting. You could roll onto your side and press yourself up, or you could cross your ankles, hold onto your big toes, and flip yourself up. Again, working those core muscles, just for fun. Good. So Saraswati brought creation into the world. She created oceans and lands, animals and trees, and Brahma adored her. Right, let's take some gentle hip circles, circling around on our base. Nice and gently exploring this movement one way and then the other, feeling into what we want today, how you want to move. And then bring that to stillness. Coming to the center, feeling stillness. And then I want you to drop the chin down towards the chest. Feel a nice opening along the back of the neck, across the shoulders. Inhale as you lift the nose up towards the sky, nice long neck. And start nodding the head backwards and forwards. So exhaling, chin down towards the chest. Inhaling, nose towards the sky. And then let that movement start coming into the heart. Moving the heart forward on the inhale as you look up. Drawing it back on the exhale as you drop the head down. And then get the pelvis involved so that the whole torso is opening forwards on the inhale and the back is rounding and the pelvis tilting back on the exhale. Let the arms move, the shoulders move, feeling this wave of movement. Good, through the body, Shakti wave. And then slowly bringing that to stillness. Hands coming down by your sides. If you want to, you can swap the cross of the legs over, or you could sit with the legs forward or in a kneeling position. So let's lift up nice and tall through the crown of the head. Sit bones are rooted down. Just the left arm is going to float up on an inhale. And on the exhale, take it over to the side, keeping the arm above that top ear. 3 breaths here. So maybe rising up a little on the inhale and then back into the side stretch on the exhale. We're looking for an opening between the ribs. Good. One more inhale, rising up. And this time as you exhale, come down. Let the hand come to the floor and make a big arc in front of you, drawing a rainbow on the floor. Coming back to the side, come upright. Taking a breath in the center. Before we do that, the other side. Lifting the right arm as you breathe in. Exhale over into your side stretch. 3 breaths, pulsing in this. So gradually letting the opening happen. Feeling some space between that bottom rib and the hip. Lovely. Reaching over. And then this time after you come up, going all the way down. So letting the hand find the floor. And then drawing a lovely big arc in front of you. Coming back onto your mat and bringing the hand nearby. Lovely. Swing your legs around and come to tabletop pose. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. You can always come down to forearms at this point if you don't like to take the weight on your wrists. We're going to take some hip circles, taking the hips back a little way, out to one side, forward, over to the other side, and then back, and letting the elbows move and bend as feels right for you. The head can get involved. So wherever Saraswati went, Brahma wanted to watch her, to see what she was doing, but she's a very independent, free spirit. She wasn't too keen on this. Take this the other way. So she wasn't the usual subservient wife of the gods. Bring it to stillness. She didn't always turn up to accompany Brahma to things. Now I want you to rest onto your right hip. Come to rest on your right hip so that you can swing your legs forward and bring the right shin parallel with the front of your mat. And take the left shin back. So the left shin is parallel to the side of your mat. So you're in this kind of 90-degree angle with the legs. This is deer pose. So settling into this posture. And we're going to take some side sweeps, looking forward and back here. So take your left hand back to the left foot. The right hand can go down beside your hip. Looking over your left shoulder. Inhale, lift the left arm up and follow it with your gaze, if that's okay, on your neck, all the way over. Exhale as it comes down towards the floor in front of you. So we're making these lovely arcing shapes again. Inhaling up, hand coming up to the ceiling. Exhaling back as the hand comes to the floor behind you. Letting the hips rock on and off the mat. Working with your breath length. So making this fluid and flowing as feels right to you. Next time your hand comes back to the foot, pause there. And then turning to the front, sweep the legs around so that you swap. So that the hip, your left hip is now the one you're resting on. Your left shin is facing the front of your mat. And the right shin is to the side. Right hand goes towards the back foot. Left hand coming next to your hip to support the movement. Looking over your right shoulder. Lovely big inhale as we start sweeping the right hand up and over. You can make these movements as big or as small as you want. You can keep the elbow bent. Maybe it feels nice to have the arm fully extended. Inhaling as the arm comes up, exhaling as it goes down to the floor. And again, when Your right hand next touches down behind you. Pause there for a moment. Turning back to the front and coming back to kneeling. Onto your hands and knees. Good. Taking the right foot behind you. So from tabletop pose, take the right leg behind and flex through the right foot, pushing through the heel, reaching through the crown of the head. If the wrists don't like this, you can come onto forearms to do this. We're going to inhale, make the body long. Exhale, draw the knee underneath the chest, look towards the knee and round the back. Inhale, take the foot out behind you, nice length in the body. Exhale, draw everything into the center. This time, take the foot out and pause there. On the exhale, sweep the foot around to your right and look over your right shoulder. See if you can see the toes. So you're pointing your right toes and feeling the curve, the stretch in the side of your body. Breathe into that stretch. Lovely. Inhale, sweep the toes along the floor to come back so that the foot is directly behind the hip. And exhale, come back onto kneeling. Circle the wrists if you want to, or come down onto your forearms. And then we'll take the left leg out behind us. Length through the back of the body. Your gaze is down between the hands. Flexing that back foot and reaching through the crown of the head. Nice big inhale there. Exhale, the knee comes forward and we look towards it. Inhale, take it back. Exhale, rounding the spine. Good. Inhale, taking the foot back, this time pausing and then sweeping the left foot over to the right. Good, and looking towards that back foot. Lovely. So the marriage was not a happy one, and Saraswati escaped from Brahma to live her life independently. Let's sweep that foot back behind the hips on an inhale. Exhale, coming to kneeling, and ease your hips all the way back down to child pose. Resting the head down onto the floor, or maybe bringing it down onto your hands. Breathe into the back of the body here. And on the exhale, let the back round and soften, widen and ease. So Saraswati cursed Brahma. She said that nobody would ever worship him. And sure enough, today in India, there are thousands of temples to Shiva, a few to Vishnu, and hardly any to Lord Brahma. So we're going to reach our fingertips forward now, stretching the fingers to the front of your mat, placing the palms down firmly, and we're going to rise up through a striking cobra pose. So inhale, up and through. Let the hips drop down to the ground, and then exhale, bring the tummy down. Pressing into the mat with your hands, roll the shoulders back, lift the heart. If your body doesn't like cobra, then take sphinx instead. Elbows under shoulders instead of hands. And you're lifting the heart forward as you inhale, relaxing down as you exhale. And again today, make this a bit more fluid. So perhaps the hips sway and you look over one shoulder, come through the center and look over the other. Perhaps you rise up and down, or perhaps you stay up in the posture for a few breaths, swaying the hips. Seeing how the lumbar spine feels. So engaging the tummy muscles, keeping the front of the body engaged, trying to soften the lower back and really engaging the upper back. Couple more breaths here. And then lowering down, bringing the hands under the forehead, for crocodile pose, where we sway our hips, resting the head down either onto the mat or the back of the hands. And then we're going to push slowly all the way back to child pose. So hands come under the shoulders. Little cobra, you can lift up as high or low as you want. Push into the knees, take the hips up and back. Go slowly and feel the work shifting off of your back. We're coming from a back bend into a gentle forward bend. So allow the spine to take these movements as slowly as it wants to. Good. And then once again, rising up to kneeling, I want us to practice some Shakti waves using down dog. And we're going to go through down dog to hovering cat, which I'll show you. But if you don't like doing this when we give it a go, you can do the same movements from kneeling. So if you're going to try this, we want hands just a bit in front of the shoulders, preparing for our down dog. Spread into the fingers, press down into those fingertips, tuck the toes, and hover the knees off the ground. That's your hovering cat posture. And then keep those knees really bent. Take the hips back, push the hands into the mat. Take the hips back, 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 and then up. So the legs start to straighten and you come into a downward facing dog. And then bend the knees, allow the shoulders to float forward, and you're bending the knees, you're coming down low to the floor, but not quite touching it. Then push yourself back. Hips go back and up. So you're making circles. And like I say, you can take this to the floor if you want to. Take the knees to the floor and continue the movement in the body without all the weight coming into the hands. You can even do it on forearms. And then see, just as you got the hang of that, see if you can reverse the movement, taking the hips back, down, and then the chest forward, up with the hips, back, down. So waving in the opposite direction, working with the breath. You breathe in and out when it feels right to you. Lovely. And then start walking the feet forward into a forward fold. Coming to the front of your mat, let the head hang down heavy, knees soft. And I want you to take a big stride back with your right foot. Come into a lunge, the left foot staying between the hands, and the left knee wants to be over the left ankle. You can drop the back knee down to the floor. Good stuff. And then pressing down into your right hand, I want you to lift the left hand up to the sky so that you're in this lovely twisted lunge, and open across the heart. So maybe the hand comes back a little way. And from here, take some circles. So the back hand drops down, comes around, all the way around. 3 nice big circles, turning your palm, your shoulder, whenever it feels right to you. Good stuff. Placing the hand back down, and then tucking the toes under. Step it back to downward facing dog. Lovely. And this time, drop your left knee to the floor and kickstand it out to the side. And we're going to come into our side plank. So we want the hand, knee, and back foot now all lined up. You can bring your right hand either onto your hip, or you can extend it up into the air. For our half side plank. Lovely. And be creative with this today. So you might wave the hand overhead. You might reach it into a lovely side angle. You might even try lifting the back leg off the floor. So see what you want to do. Let your intuition, your inspiration, take you into any shapes, please. Last big inhale here, and then exhale. Hand comes down to the floor, knee comes down to the floor. Sink it back into child pose. Good. We're going to come forward into cobra. So inhale, hips float forward. And then push it back to down dog or kneeling. Good. And then walk the feet forward, coming to the front of the mat into a forward fold. Lovely. Keeping it nice and loose. Good stuff. And then this time the left foot is going to take a big stride back into a lunge. Feel the length of that lunge, nice and long, and then drop the back knee down to the floor, softening the top of the foot onto the ground. Press down this time into your left hand. The right elbow bends and peels up into your twist. So twisted lunge, turning towards that bent knee, reaching up to the sky, fingers are spread, and then drop that top hand back, down, all the way around, making nice big circles. Seeing how this feels. If this doesn't work, then taking the hand to the hip or keeping the elbow bent. You move in the direction and the way that feels good for you. And then both hands frame the front foot. Tuck the toes under. Step it back to downward facing dog. Walk out those legs a little. And this time, the right knee is going to come down to the floor. You're going to kickstand it out to the side. When you get yourself balanced and all those 3 points are in line, so hand, knee, and back foot, then you can lift the top hand up, or maybe it stays on the hip, and have a play. See which shapes you can make, what your body wants to do today. Maybe the hand comes forward and back, maybe over the top, reaching, stretching. Maybe you fix in one place and see if you can breathe from there, opening up the shape. Last inhale and exhale. Hands, knees, come down to the ground. Take a moment in child. Ease yourself back, hips coming back down towards the heels. And think about how you would like to make your way to standing. So you are welcome to come up any way you please, or you can follow me. I'm going to rise up and come into downward facing dog, tapping the toes. And slowly walking the feet forward into a forward fold at the front of the mat. Hanging like a rag doll. So maybe your feet are together, maybe your feet are hip width apart. And you press down into the mat using the strength of the legs to slowly bring you up to standing. Don't rush. We've been down on the floor some time. Good. Roll the shoulders back. Open the palms forward when you get to the top. Lovely. Breathe. Lift the chest. Lovely open posture. Take a moment here, maybe closing your eyes and seeing if you're tapping into your intuition. Are you letting yourself listen to that inner voice inside you? Sometimes it's a real challenge. Our logical brain may want to follow instructions, may want to do what it thinks is the right thing, but there's something you can't quite describe saying, oh, I quite feel like doing this, or perhaps trying this. So go with that today if you can. And we're going to take some side stretches in our standing Tadasana pose. So inhale, take that arms out and up. Let the palms join together overhead. You can look up if your neck is good, or straight ahead. Take another inhale here, and then exhale over to your right. So bowing over sideways, inhaling up, go to your left. letting that right hip float out. Just a couple more times each side, letting the weight shift between your feet. Maybe you want to experiment taking the feet closer together or wider apart, seeing how it changes the posture. Making sure you do an even number on each side. So when you next go to the left, let that be the last time. Coming up through the center, no rush. And exhaling the hands back down beside you. Taking a couple of shoulder rolls here. And then I'm going to make the feet, take them wider apart. Maybe as wide as the mat, turning the toes slightly out so the heels are coming in a little bit. Getting into our goddess energy, hands in on your hips and circling the hips, getting those knees bending, feeling into the Swadhisthana chakra or around the pelvis. Maybe 3 circles one way and then pause and reverse it, taking the circles the other way. Good. So this is the center of our creativity. Get those creative juices flowing. Bring it to stillness, and then we'll take some goddess squats. So you come down as low or stay up as high as you want to. Hands can be on the hips or on the thighs. Going to inhale with straight legs, standing. Exhale, bend the knees, hips come down, go into your squat. Feel the thighs fire up, push down into the feet, inhale back up again. Exhale, take it down. Maybe you go a little lower. Just go with what feels right for you. Push down into the feet. Feel the strength of the muscles pushing you back up again. And again, this time go as low as feels right for you. So the hips might come down towards the floor. And you might bring your hands in front of your heart. You might be high up with the hands on the thighs and just feel the work going on in the body. See if you can drop the hips a little lower. Couple more inhale, exhales, wherever you are with this. And then finish with a nice big inhale. Bow the hands down to the floor and heel toe your feet together again into a nice soft forward fold. We're going to take the right foot back into a lunge, and this time I'm going to walk the hands around. So start walking the hands around to the side, turning your feet as you go, so you'll end up in a wide-legged forward fold facing the wide edge, long edge of your mat. Once you arrive here, make sure the feet are parallel to each other and take a sway in the hips from side to side, bending one knee and then the other knee, letting the whole body sway with this. Maybe the hands get involved. Perhaps they're drawing a figure 8 on the ground between the feet. Feel how this starts to open the hips up. Perhaps you can drop the head a little lower. Remember, if you don't like to take a full forward fold, you can stay up higher. So you're working with whatever feels right for you. Bringing it to stillness now. Coming into the center. I want you to heel toe the feet in a little bit. End up with the toes pointing out towards the corners of the mat, ready for rising up and taking a goddess stance. So knees bent to start with. And you can take this in stages, but we're going to roll up. So press down into the feet. Hands can come to the thighs, or they don't have to. As you inhale, we straighten the legs and then we lift the hands to the sky. So one fluid movement, we come into a star shape. Nice big inhale at the top, and then exhale, draw the hands down to cactus arms, bending the elbows as we bend the knees. Try and keep that tailbone long, so zip up the front of the body, breathing here in our goddess pose. Take a sneaky look at your knees. Should just be able to see the toes poking out in front of them, and make sure the knees are lined up with the toes. Otherwise, have a little adjust, heel toe, the feet, until you're in a comfortable goddess pose. It might be hard work, but it shouldn't be painful. And then we're going to do a flow from here. Going to inhale and open the arms out. Exhale, bring the palms together in front of you. Inhale, the hands come to the heart. And then we're going to take a little prayer wheel roll. So exhale, push the palms away, thumbs are touching. Hands go down, back of the hands now touch, and the hands come back up past the heart and open out so that now the palms are face up and we bow down, like offering something down to the earth. Press into the feet, roll all the way up to star. So as you inhale, we come into a star and through again. Exhale, goddess, come down into your goddess pose. Inhale, open the arms out to the sides. Exhale, palms together in front. Inhale, bring the hands to the heart and take a little prayer wheel. So exhale, pushing the hands away, rolling them up and through as you inhale, and then really nice, soft, gentle bow down to the earth, offering things to the earth. Roll up, inhale, star. Let's go through that one more time. Exhale, goddess. Lovely. Inhale, open. Exhale, palms together in front. Inhale to the heart. Exhale, push it away. And roll it round. Inhale as it comes up and then offer it. Let it go. Imagine you're offering a floating token down to the river. Push yourself up to standing. And this time the hands can come down onto the thighs. Step the feet together. Come into mountain pose at the front of your mat once more. Breathing in and out here. Letting the breath, the heart settle. Bring the hands to the heart. And we'll dive back down into a forward fold. Inhale, lifting the arms up. Exhale, folding down the center. So this time you're stepping back on the left foot. Nice big stride back, walking yourself around to the side of your mat. So you should be facing the other side of the mat. And this time we're going to walk the hands forward. So bend the knees a little bit in your wide-legged forward fold. Walk the hands forward in front of you to come into like a really wide downward facing dog. Bend the knees and lengthen through the back. So lift the hips away from the hands. Have a lovely stretch down through the back of the body. And then keeping the knees bent, start walking the hands back towards you. See if this helps drop the head down towards the mat a little more. And then if it feels good, straightening the legs. So hips go up, head goes down. Breathe into a stretch at the back of the legs. And then heel toe the feet in a little bit. Toes pointing out to the corners of the mat. And you can take your hands to the thighs or come up halfway. We're not rolling up all the way this time. So heart is level with the ground. Crown of the head reaches forward. We're going to take some twists in our goddess pose. Every time we're in the center, we're thinking about getting length in the spine. So crown of the head reaches forward, hips reach back. Inhale there. On the exhale, take your right shoulder and dip it down as you look to your left. Inhale back to the center. And then the left shoulder dips down as you breathe out, you look to your right. One more time each side, coming through the center and dipping. Lovely. Inhaling and exhaling. Finishing off in the center. And bowing back down to the earth, walking yourself round to the front of the mat. And this time coming back to down dog, dropping the knees and resting in child pose or onto the belly, whichever you prefer. Coming down to the earth and breathing there. And whilst you rest, I'm going to talk you through the next posture because there are lots of options with it. We're going to do pigeon pose into sleeping swan to represent the peacock, the swan, the birds that accompany Saraswati. And front-facing pigeon can be tricky on knees and hips. It's not right for everybody. So there are some options that you might want to take instead. To start with, there's variations of how to come into our pigeon pose. So everybody rise up to hands and knees, tabletop pose. And you can take your right knee forward to the right wrist from here. So you can do the movement from here. Otherwise, it's nice to come into down dog. So tucking the toes, lifting into down dog. Lift the right foot up behind you for a three-legged dog, and then swing the right knee forward towards the right wrist. Either way, we end up with our right knee towards the right wrist, and then we lengthen back through the back leg. It goes straight back. And you'll know by now, if this is not for you, if the back, the knees, the hips don't like it, then perhaps instead you could take more of that deer pose that we did right at the beginning. Rest on your right hip and have the legs in that shape. If you know reclining, reverse pigeon, lying on your back, you could do that as well. If this is okay for you, take a few breaths to settle into the hips, lift the heart, and then we turn our pigeon into a swan by walking the hands forward. The heart comes forward, length in the body. Don't worry about coming down, that will just happen. And you can pause halfway. You could stay on your forearms, or it might be nice to lie down with the head touching the floor or resting on the back of the hands. So bringing gravity onto this right hip and feeling a stretch there. And it should be a nice juicy stretch. It should not be painful. If it's painful, please come out of it. Keep the right foot a little bit flexed, and that protects the knee. It engages all the muscles around the knee joint. So hopefully that feels okay. And breathe through discomfort. See if you can get some pleasure out of feeling the body open. The exhale, soften the posture. Soften you down. Think of an elegant swan lying here. Last couple of breaths. And then we use the hands to start walking us upright, walking back to our pigeon pose, tucking the back toes under, push into the hands. You might not want to go straight back into down dog, just for fun today. You can either come to kneeling or down dog, or you can shoot the right foot off to the side. And pressing into the right hand, lift the left hand for fallen triangle. Okay, this is a twisted, balancing, uplifting posture. And then exhale, both hands come to the floor, both feet go back into down dog, come to kneeling, sink back into child, and take a pause there, taking a moment. All of that is optional. You can come out of pigeon and swan in your own way and rest down in whichever posture you would like to take. Now we're going to do it on the other side. So rising up to kneeling, you can come into the pose by simply sliding the left knee forward towards the left wrist, or come up to downward facing dog. Lift the left foot up behind you, swing the left knee forwards, and let the shins settle. Okay, the more the shin is parallel to the front of the mat, the more of a stretch is going to be on that left hip. So let's choose an angle that's right for you. The hips should remain facing forwards. So draw that right hip forwards, the left hip back, flex the left foot, settle into your pose. And if it's not right on this side, you've got the options, deer pose or laying on your back for reverse pigeon if you know that option. Inhale, lifting the chest. Exhale, start bringing the heart forward. Take a couple of breaths to get into your sleeping swan, deciding whether to stop halfway and stay there or continue your journey down, finding length in the body. And once you're in your reclined, your supine position, your prone position, then release. Every exhale, let gravity take hold of your body, softening it down. Every inhale, think of yourself as breathing space, breathing energy into whatever sensations come up in this pose. The exhale lets them go. So feeling elegant, feeling expansive, feeling creative here. Good. Really getting into those hips. Finishing off with a couple more deep breaths. And then begin walking the hands back towards you. Now, if you want to have a go at that fallen triangle, but you weren't quite up for it as I described it, you can do it from kneeling. So now you're either tucking your toes and pushing back to downward facing dog, or you can keep that right knee on the floor and shoot the left foot through, okay, off to the side. And if you want to lift the top arm, so if you're in downward dog, you're lifting up. And enjoy whatever your body offers you today in all these variations, or choose to come directly to rest. Bringing the hands down to the mat, feet go back, knees come down to the floor, and you ease yourself either into child or laying on your tummy, catching your breath there. And when you're ready, gently pressing yourself up to kneeling and swinging the legs around in front of you. I'm going to take our half Lord of the Fishes twists. And again, I'm going to offer you some variations which you might like to try. You can make twists as gentle or intense as you want. Some people love that feeling of wringing out the body, and for some that might not be right in your spine, in your muscles, so go with what's right for you. So from Dandasana, our staff pose, those toes pointing up to the sky, first of all we're going to bend the right knee and take the right foot outside of the left knee. And if you want a gentler twist, keep it inside the knee instead of taking it to the outside. Okay, from here, you can either keep the leg extended or you can sweep the right foot around to the right hip. Again, you'll know pretty instantly when you do that if that's not right for you. If you're now all lopsided and feeling very awkward and uncomfortable, then straighten out the leg again. And then we take our right hand down to the floor to support us, bring it just behind the hip. The left hand reaches up into the sky to lengthen the side body, and then we wrap the hand around that bent knee. So either the hand comes to the shin and you turn a little way to your side, or you wrap the arm and the knee is tucked into the crook of the elbow. Or for today, you might want to lift the elbow and place it on the outside of the knee. Okay, the hand can be palm straight, or you might want to take chin mudra. pressing the fingertip, the index fingertip to the thumb. Wherever you are in this pose, we're going to take one more inhale to lengthen, and then we make the final turn. So turning from above the belly, shoulders, and the head floats around last to look over the right shoulder. Then we inhale and unwind a little. See if we can press into the floor and lift up through the crown of the head, and exhale around. So every inhale, try and make space, lengthening the spine. We like to lengthen out the spine before we twist it. And one last breath here. Good. Now again today, before you unwind, and you're welcome to unwind to the front and come out of the posture, you might want to take your left hand, grab hold of your right foot, and stretch the leg out. So it could be straight, or you could have a little bend in that knee. And if that feels okay, maybe you lift the back arm so it comes into a balance, and you turn to look over the back shoulder, reaching out through the heel of the foot and through the fingertips. And then bend the front knee, come all the way around to the front, unravel yourself. Give the legs a little shake out, and we'll take that to the other side. So starting from the beginning, the left knee bends, and you settle the left foot either inside or outside the knee. Okay, draw yourself up nice and tall. If you want to have a go at sweeping the foot around to the left hip, it might be different on one side to the other. And then if that's painful or uncomfortable, or if you feel all twisted up and lopsided, take the leg out straight again. Good. The left hand this time is coming down to the floor, just tenting the fingers or palm to the ground, depends how long your arms are. And then inhale, lengthen up through that right hand, and decide where you're going to settle. Maybe the elbow comes to the outside of the knee today. Maybe it wraps around the leg, or maybe the hand rests on the shin. Okay, wherever you are, we're going to lengthen up. Inhale before we twist, and then we turn from the base of the belly up through the chest. The head floats around last. Inhale to unwind a little. Exhale, breathing into the twist. And don't be tempted, if you've got this elbow around the knee, to use it as a crank. It's not a handle to push you into the twist. It's just a way of taking you a little deeper, but the core muscles are doing the twisting. Last breath, turning to look over your shoulder if that's okay, and your neck and your back. And then you've got the choice. You can deviate a little on the way back out of your twist if you want to, taking hold of the big toe of your left foot, stretching the leg out, and maybe taking the left hand back. You decide. Just breathing into it and coming out. Everybody taking their feet in front of them before you ease yourself down to lying on the ground. And hugging the knees over the chest, a little rock and roll. When you feel ready to, letting the feet drop down to the ground and deciding which posture you would like to take for relaxation. Stretching the legs out long, letting the toes drop out to the side. And if the lumbar spine is not happy with that, taking a bend in the knees, placing the feet flat on the floor, wide apart, and letting the knees drop together so that it's effortlessly keeping you in constructive rest pose. Have a little shimmy of the hips and shoulders, and then allow the eyes to close. See how it feels to have the palms face up to the sky, so nice and open across the collarbones. And allow yourself to settle into stillness. Let the jaw soften, the tongue soften, shoulders relax back, and the hips widen, broaden into the floor. Limbs are heavy, fingers and toes relax. So we're letting the body soften and the mind soften. Use every exhale to take you deeper into relaxation. The Saraswati teaches us to listen within, to trust our intuition. Whether this is challenging or easy for you to do, Saraswati invites us to listen to the self, to let go of the nagging doubts and the unconscious tricks that the mind plays. So I'd like you to introduce a meditation now. You are very welcome to take this lying down, or if you feel that you'd like to take it in a classical seated posture, and very gently bending your knees, press yourself up to sitting. And you can take chin mudra with the fingers if you wish. Make sure that the shoulders stay relaxed. You could be kneeling, you could be cross-legged, or you could be lying down on the floor. I want to introduce a mantra meditation. So the word for swan in Sanskrit is hamsa. And these two vowels, if we take them separately, hamsa means I am that. So I'd like you to breathe in and think hum. And breathe out thinking sa, like a sigh out. Hum, sa. Working with the breath, or maybe the meditation, the mantra takes its own form, taking its own pace. Let every exhale drop you deeper, deeper down, like a lake. Below the surface of gentle ripples, we dive down deeper into where the water is still. This is where your inner knowing is, where intuition comes from, where it bubbles up, where ideas happen. Breathing into that hamsa, I am that. Letting yourself go deeper down and seeing what, if anything, your intuition wishes to whisper to you. And don't worry if nothing in particular comes to you. Something might arise later or tomorrow or in the next few days. And if you're still lying down, start to deepen the inhales. Roll gently onto your side with the knees bent. If you're seated, then take a few shoulder rolls, letting go now of the mantra, of the meditation, pressing yourself upright to sitting. If you're not there already, you can keep the eyes closed or let them flutter open, your choice. And we'll finish by bringing the hands in front of the heart and taking a nice deep breath together. On the inhale, take the hands out and up. On the exhale, sigh out the exhale as the hands come down to the heart. Good. And then join me in an Om Shanti 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 if you wish. Inhaling up. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Taking a lovely deep breath into the heart space. And exhaling into a bow, acknowledging yourself, giving thanks for the practice that we've shared. Saraswati gives us intelligence to know our mind, to speak our truth, and to flow from the heart. May you trust your intuition and know the next step that you are to take in life. Namaste.